Ethan, listen, I know this is sudden, but Julian was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer last month. This wedding, it's his dying wish. I promise, I'll give you a wedding 3 days from now. It'll be grander, more luxurious than this one, okay? Vanessa Sterling clung to my arm, her voice softening into that pouty, apologetic tone she knew always worked. Look, you still have the ring. Even if you aren't the groom at this specific ceremony, what's yours is still yours. No one can take that away from you. As she spoke, she produced a velvet box and solemnly slid the diamond ring onto my finger. I recognized it instantly. It was the Eternity ring, a piece by a famous designer that took 3 years to craft. It symbolized a one-of-a-kind love and cost a small fortune. But I knew the truth. Vanessa had originally prepared a simple, standard band for me. Giving me the Eternity ring now wasn't an act of love. It was hush money. She wanted to shut me up so I wouldn't make a scene about her marrying Julian Hayes, her childhood sweetheart, the one that got away. I felt a strange calmness wash over me. The disappointment and hysteria that usually consumed me were gone. After all, this dynamic slap me in the face, then give me a piece of candy had happened too many times to count. In the beginning, I used to get angry. But every single time, Vanessa would swear up and down that she only helped Julian because he was all alone in the city. She claimed there were absolutely no romantic feelings involved. I believed her so many times, and I was let down just as many. 2 years of arguments and cold wars. Yet she continued to do exactly as she pleased. Now, I was thoroughly disillusioned with Vanessa Sterling. I simply nodded, seeing how agreeable I was this time. Vanessa looked relieved, even pleased. Ethan, you really took my words to heart. You become so generous. I love that about you. Don't worry, the wedding in 3 days won't let you down. It'll be even more extravagant than this. She leaned in to hug me, her usual way of showing affection. In the past, I would have been thrilled. Now, I felt like she was petting a dog. I stepped back smoothly, dodging her touch. Her expression faltered for a second. Vanessa, what are you doing out here? The ceremony is over, and everyone is asking where the bride went. Not far away, Julian Hayes walked over, looking dashing and spirited in a tailored tuxedo. When he saw me, he deliberately adjusted the boutonniere pin to his chest, the one that read groom. I knew he was provoking me. He did this often. He would intentionally mail gifts meant for Vanessa to our house, or make noise in the background whenever I was on the phone with her. That was exactly how I had discovered his existence in the first place. When Vanessa saw Julian, a flicker of panic crossed her eyes. For the past 2 years, she had done everything possible to keep us separate, acting as a buffer. Counting the glimpse I caught during the ceremony, this was the first time Julian and I had formally met face to face. Perhaps afraid I would throw a punch, Vanessa instinctively stepped between us. However, her words were directed at him in a scolding tone. Why did you come out? Didn't I tell you to wait inside? Julian apologized, looking wronged. He clutched his chest and coughed heavily twice. Vanessa, the doctor just called. He said it's best if I get some fresh air. Could you keep me company? No. Vanessa rejected him without hesitation. She immediately glanced back at me to check my reaction. I didn't say a word, though I laughed internally. Julian pretended to just notice me then, letting out a surprised gasp. Ethan, I didn't expect you to be here. I'm so sorry, I didn't see you. But, he continued, a sly smile playing on his lips, since Ethan was willing to lend me his wedding. Surely he'll agree to this small request, right? Before I could speak, Vanessa shut him down again. Impossible. Agreeing to marry you is already the bottom line for Ethan and me. Don't even think about a honeymoon. Julian's eyes reddened, and he lowered his head in dejection. You're right. I was being presumptuous. I am sorry. I forgot to consider Ethan's feelings. Go ahead, Vanessa. Spend time with Ethan. I am dying anyway. Once I'm dead, I won't feel anything, so I won't be sad. He wiped his eyes, turned around, and walked away. Vanessa instinctively took a step as if to chase after him, but she held back, turning to me with a forced smile. He's just being childish. Ignore him. Despite her words, I clearly saw the distress in her eyes, and her grip on my arm tightened, her nails digging into my flesh until it burned. On the drive back, Vanessa was distracted. Finally, she slammed on the brakes and pulled over to the curb. Her eyes darted around, avoiding mine. Ethan, I left something at the wedding venue. Can you take a cab back by yourself? Okay, I agreed instantly. Vanessa hadn't expected me to be so easygoing. Her expression complicated for a moment before breaking into a bright smile. Ethan, you're being so understanding today. As a reward, I'll come pick you up later tonight. Just wait for me at home, okay? I didn't say anything, just got out of the car. Watching her taillights speed away, I I knew perfectly well she wasn't coming to pick me up. Sure enough, a short while later, Vanessa texted a flimsy excuse saying she couldn't make it and told me to head home myself. At the same time, Julian sent me a message. Ethan, I didn't expect you to be so tough on the outside, but soft on the inside. Thanks for letting Vanessa come keep me company. Following the passive-aggressive text was a video. In it, Vanessa was driving intently while patiently explaining to him, Ethan isn't like you. He's petty and gets jealous easily. You can't let him know I'm with you. The video was unsent less than 2 minutes later, just long enough to ensure I saw it, but quick enough to destroy the evidence. He probably thought I would demand answers from Vanessa, get scolded by her for accusing him, endure 3 days of the silent treatment, and leave another opening for him to exploit. Too bad. I was tired. I pulled out my phone and dialed the visa agency I had contacted earlier. You can proceed with the visa application. Use the identity I gave you before. The duration is Belmano. The first year Julian returned to the country, Vanessa and I had our worst fight ever because of him. After a month of Cold War, I arranged a fake identity for myself. When we were dating, I told her that if she ever fell in love with someone else, I would vanish from her life forever, never to appear again. Back then, she thought I was joking. There are cameras everywhere. Everything is connected to the internet. How could a living person just disappear forever? Besides, we've been together for so many years. Could you really let go of this relationship? She was certain I couldn't bear to leave, so she never imagined I would actually prepare a fallback identity. The agency was efficient. They told me everything would be ready in 3 days. I asked them to keep it confidential and paid the balance. Looking up at the familiar skyline of New York, I felt a sense of relief. Actually, I should have left long ago. But after that Cold War, Vanessa brought up marriage. I didn't believe her at first, but she, who usually hated hassle, began busying herself with preparations, from selecting party favors to booking the hotel and shooting wedding photos. Even when she was sick with a fever, she didn't slow down. She had truly loved me once. When the apartment fire happened years ago, I was trapped under a beam. She risked being burned alive to save me. To this day, she has a jagged scar on her right wrist from that night. Because of that, I firmly believed she genuinely wanted to marry me. But her heart was split in two. Whenever Julian appeared, her love for me vanished without a trace. I didn't need that kind of love anymore. I didn't want to beg for it. And now I just had to wait 3 days. Then I could leave Vanessa Sterling completely. After calming down, I drove home and started packing. I threw away anything I couldn't take and listed the valuable items online at low prices. That included the eternity diamond ring Vanessa had just given me. I believed that finances should be shared. So after we agreed to marry, I let her hold on to most of my bank cards. These gifts she gave me were bought with my own money anyway. In less than an hour, items sold sporadically. Finally, only a few things and the diamond ring remained. Just as I was about to turn off my phone, Vanessa called. Ethan, why is the diamond ring I gave you listed for sale online? Her tone was laced with dissatisfaction. Before I could speak, I heard Julian's voice faintly in the background. Is Ethan mad? Vanessa, maybe you should just go keep him company. The receiver sounded muffled for a moment, followed by rustling sounds. Soon, Vanessa's sweet voice returned. I ran into Julian on my way back and gave him a ride to the hospital. Don't overthink it. I know I neglected you, and you're unhappy. It's fine if you sell the other things, but I fought hard to get that ring. It's the witness to our future love. You shouldn't just sell it casually. If you need money, I can give it to you. But you must keep that ring safe. When we have our wedding in 3 days, put it on and make everyone envious of you, okay? She rambled on. But I knew she only talked this much when she was lying. I didn't know if the lie was about taking Julian to the hospital or about our wedding. It didn't matter anymore. I gave a non-committal. Just as I was about to say something, a notification chimed on my phone. The item had been purchased. Vanessa laughed generously on the other end. I bought the ring back. It's a gift for you. Stop acting out now. Be a good boy. In 3 days, I'll give you another surprise, okay? Okay, I replied calmly. Vanessa hung up, satisfied. I took the ring listing down and refunded the money to her account. I knew she was trying to buy off her guild again, but this time, I didn't want her charity. I went to a private jeweler and auction house instead. The price was negotiated smoothly, and the transaction was successful. On my way to the parking lot, I happened to pass a cafe with outdoor seating near the mall. I instinctively glanced over and, to my surprise, saw Vanessa and Julian. They were sitting on a stone bench near the entrance, looking affectionately at each other. Perhaps afraid Julian would get cold, Vanessa had taken off her cardigan and placed it on the bench beneath him. One sleeve hung limply off the edge. A passerby stepped on the white cuff, instantly leaving a black footprint. Oh no, sorry Vanessa, I got it dirty, Julian apologized. Vanessa waved it off. It doesn't matter. It's old anyway. I've been wanting to throw it out for a long time. I pursed my lips, finding it almost funny. That cardigan was hand-knit. I had learned from videos, stitching it row by row. To make it, I pricked my fingers countless times, bleeding for that gift. Now, Vanessa had tossed it to Julian like a rag, and she considered it something that should have been thrown out long ago. Perhaps, sensing my gaze, Julian glanced in my direction. A look of triumph flashed in his eyes. Vanessa, I want some hot water. Can you go inside and give me a cup? Wait here. Vanessa smiled at him and walked into the cafe. Once she was inside, Julian held his head high and walked over to me, the dirty cardigan in his hand. As if provoking me, he deliberately loosened his grip. Then, he stomped hard on the cardigan. Another black footprint appeared. Ethan, do you see? This is what you are to Vanessa now. Vanessa can replace the groom at her wedding for me. She can leave you behind to go on a honeymoon with me. What's the point of you clinging to this relationship? I could see he wanted to enrage me. In the past, he probably would have succeeded. But now I just felt bored. I couldn't even understand why the old me had wasted so much time and emotion on them. I bent down, picked up the soiled cardigan, and tossed it into the nearest trash can. Then I wish you two a lifetime of happiness. Seeing me remain completely calm, Julian froze. Just as he was about to say something, he spotted Vanessa walking out of the shop. He suddenly grabbed my hand and threw himself backward with force, crashing to the ground. It looked exactly like I had pushed him. Ethan, what are you doing? Vanessa screamed, rushing over to help Julian up. Then she slapped me across the face. Hard. The loud crack startled even Vanessa. She stood there, her hand frozen in midair, fingers trembling. Julian, on the other hand, grabbed Vanessa's hand and started whining. Vanessa, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I don't know why Ethan suddenly showed up. He grabbed the cardigan and threw in the trash. I just couldn't help but say a few words, and I didn't expect it to make him so angry. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have run my mouth. Saying this, he raised his hand as if to slap himself. Vanessa immediately stopped him, looking at me with a mix of anger and helplessness. Ethan, didn't we agree? We're having the wedding in 3 days. Why are you stalking us? I didn't answer her. Instead, I asked, is this the hospital you brought Julian to? Vanessa choked on her words. A moment later, looking guilty, she stammered, Julian came to keep me company while I picked out your gift for 3 days from now. Ethan, I thought you had really become generous. I didn't expect you to still be this petty. Fine. Julian, and I apologize to you. I'm sorry. Is that enough? She looked at Julian, signaling him to apologize as well. Julian's expression shifted, and he immediately clutched his stomach and cried out. My stomach hurts. Suddenly, oh God, I must have hurt something when I fell. Ethan, start the car. Drive Julian to the hospital. Before I could refuse, Vanessa had already helped Julian into my car. Pedestrians were stopping to look at the commotion. Not wanting to be the subject of gossip, I had no choice but to drive them to the hospital. As soon as the car stopped, Vanessa didn't even say goodbye. She anxiously supported Julian as they rushed into the hospital building. I was just about to leave when I noticed Vanessa's purse on the passenger seat. After a moment's thought, I decided to bring it up to them. I had just reached the door of the hospital room when I heard their conversation. Vanessa, don't be so harsh on Ethan. What if he gets mad and runs away? Run. Vanessa let out a dismissive, cold laugh. We've already got the marriage license. Where could he run to? I froze in my tracks. Not long ago, she had borrowed my ID, claiming she needed to handle some paperwork. I hadn't thought much of it, and I certainly never imagined she used connections to register our marriage without me present. But fortunately, my identity was about to be erased. That marriage license would soon be invalid. I didn't stay any longer. I handed the bag to a nurse to deliver and went downstairs to drive away. For the next 2 days, Vanessa didn't come home. That made it convenient for me to handle my departure. On the first day, I resigned from my company, sold my shares, and had a final meal with my colleagues and the few friends I had in the city. On the second day, I successfully finalized the deactivation of my old identity and bought a plane ticket to Australia using my new one. On the third day, the agency contacted me. The visa was approved. I could leave that very night. During this time, I didn't contact Vanessa, and she never contacted me. She was too busy taking care of Julian, posting intimate photos of them in our group chats. I ignored them all, until the final day, when Julian posted on his Instagram story. In the photo, Julian was lying in a hospital bed, forehead touching Vanessa's, both smiling at the camera. Caption: even though I'm sick, at least I have the person I love most by my side. Vanessa liked it almost instantly. Mutual friends commented, saying how good they looked together, celebrating the newlyweds. Some friends who knew the situation even suggested they should just make it real. Vanessa didn't refute them. Instead, she replied with a hand-over-mouth laughing emoji. Julian replied with a shy sticker below that. They didn't say it explicitly, but they said everything. I watched, feeling bored. I intended to close the app, but accidentally double-tapped and liked the photo. I quickly unliked it, but 2 minutes later, Vanessa called. Ethan, can you stop causing trouble? Julian is sick and in a bad mood, so he posted a picture. I just wanted to cheer him up. You being so petty and deliberately stirring up drama is really giving me a headache. Starting tonight, stop acting out, okay? Tomorrow is our wedding. I've already booked the planners. This wedding will definitely be more luxurious than the last one. Look, if you don't believe me. As if afraid I wouldn't believe her, Vanessa sent me a screenshot of the invoice. The whole package cost over $30,000. It was more expensive than our engagement party. But how much love was left in it? I smiled and gave a brief explanation that my finger had slipped and I had no other intentions. I told her to take good care of Julian. You get some rest too. We invited a lot of reporters for this wedding, so you need to be in your best condition when you show up. I replied, okay. Vanessa seemed unable to let it go. Ethan, we've been together for so many years. You should know my character. If I say I'll do something, I'll do it. I'm sincere about this wedding. Never mind. Wait for me at home. I'll be there around 6. I didn't understand why she suddenly wanted to come back. I glanced down. My flight was at 8. After hanging up, I packed my luggage. When I left the house at 6, Vanessa still hadn't returned. I placed the key under the doormat and took one last look at the home we had shared for years. Then I got into the car heading for JFK Airport. I arrived at the terminal at 7:30. I called Vanessa one last time to say a final goodbye. She didn't pick up. The call rang once and was hung up. Nearly 8 minutes later, a text came through. I'm almost there. Don't rush me. Staring at the impatient text, I saw a flashback of the last 2 years, Vanessa coaxing me to stay time and time again for Julian's sake, only to abandon me immediately after. I wouldn't rush her. Not anymore. I pulled out the SIM card from my phone, snapped it in two, and flushed it down the airport toilet. Then, I strode toward the security checkpoint and onto my new journey. Meanwhile, the sound of high heels clicked frantically in our apartment building. Vanessa, covered in sweat, rushed home and shoved the door open. Ethan, I'm here. But what greeted her was only an empty room. It felt particularly desolate. Ethan, stop hiding. I'm back. Vanessa thought I was teasing her. She suppressed her annoyance and called out again. She had intended to be back by 6 as promised, but Julian had thrown a tantrum about feeling unwell and demanded she watch a movie with him. She had been anxious the whole time, but seeing Julian's pale face, she stayed until he fell asleep before rushing back. There was no sound in the apartment. Ethan didn't walk out of the bedroom looking puffy-cheeked and angry like he used to. Vanessa shouted again, even threatening him to come to the living room immediately. Minutes passed, and there was still no movement. Only then did she notice that the room seemed to be missing things. Looking closer, she realized that everything missing belonged to Ethan. Playing the runaway game, are we? Vanessa laughed in anger. She took out her phone to call Ethan, but it went straight to a not-in-service message. Annoyed, she typed out a text threatening him to appear within 3 minutes or never come back. But the message failed to send immediately. You've got guts. Fine. You want to play? I'll play with you. Let's see who breaks first. Vanessa slammed her phone down. Just then, the wedding planning company called. Miss Sterling, we're just calling to confirm. Is the wedding tomorrow still proceeding as scheduled? Hearing this, Vanessa swallowed her anger. She figured Ethan was probably still sulking about being swapped out at the previous ceremony. She calmed herself and replied, yes, proceed as planned. Once the wedding was underway, Ethan would surely cool off and come back. Vanessa went to the police station. If she wanted the wedding to happen, she needed to find Ethan and talk to him personally. To facilitate finding his information, she brought the marriage license. She had originally planned to give it to Ethan as a gift at the wedding. Now, it seemed she'd have to give it to him early. Vanessa knew that as long as she showed sincerity, Ethan would soften and agree to her terms. But when the police told her they couldn't find the person she was describing in the system, she froze. Things were spiraling beyond her expectations. Can't find him? What does that mean? It likely means the individual has either passed away or completely erased their identity. Dead? Impossible. Ethan didn't have many friends here. If he had died, she would have been the one contacted to handle arrangements. That left only the latter. Erased his identity? Then where could he go? Can you track him? Vanessa grabbed the officer's arm, her voice frantic. The officer shook his head. It felt like a bolt of lightning had struck her. Vanessa is Yahon. She didn't snap out of it until she got back home. Just as she was taking out her keys, she felt something hard under her foot. Lifting the mat, she found Ethan's key. On the keychain was a couple's charm, a bride in a wedding dress. It was part of a set. The other one was a groom in a tuxedo. When she bought them, she had said she would wear a beautiful dress and have a grand, romantic wedding with him. But now the groom was gone. She pulled out her own keys. The chain was empty. She remembered then that her charm had been broken by Julian. She had lost her groom, too. Vanessa's eyes stung, but she refused to believe Ethan would just leave her. Forcing herself to pull it together, Vanessa immediately contacted reporters and launched a search campaign. She released Ethan's photo, announcing a reward of $100,000 to anyone who found him. Seeing such a large sum, people all over the internet started providing leads. Every time she saw a photo of someone with a similar build, Vanessa would rush over, only to end up disappointed. 10 days passed. Ethan was still nowhere to be found. Vanessa returned home in despair. Her stomach, empty all day, growled loudly. "Ethan, I'm hungry." She dragged her exhausted body inside and called out his name instinctively. Only when the silence answered her did she remember Ethan wasn't here anymore. A hollow feeling settled in her chest. She remembered how, in the past, Ethan would always have a hot meal waiting for her. She walked to the fridge, thinking she'd find something to eat. She rarely opened the fridge. That was Ethan's domain. She didn't expect much, just hoping to pad her stomach. Vanessa pulled the door open. When she saw the shelves fully stocked with her favorite yogurt, drinks, and honey bread, she froze. A wave of overwhelming emotion crashed over her. Tears slid silently down her cheeks. Vanessa cried all night. The next day, she raised the reward to $200,000. More people offered tips, meaning more information to sift through. Julian constantly claimed he was unwell and needed her company. Vanessa, unable to get away, was frequently the target of his complaints. Overhearing him one day, Vanessa thought of how she used to treat Ethan. She realized his departure might have everything to do with her neglect. She had liked Julian since childhood. They missed their chance when he went abroad. Later, she got together with Ethan because his eyes looked like Julian's. When Julian returned and confessed to her, she couldn't bear to reject him, but she also couldn't bear to leave Ethan after 8 years. She exhausted herself, trying to maintain peace between the two, never expecting it to end like this. One day, after driving 8 hours back from another city chasing a false lead, she received a message. "This clue might not help you find him, but I think it's useful." Attached was a high-definition video. Vanessa opened it. The timestamp in the corner was 3 days before Ethan left. The background was the cafe near the mall she had visited with Julian. In the video, immediately after she entered the shop, Julian stood up without hesitation. He carried the dirty cardigan over to Ethan. He said something she couldn't hear. Then, with a smug expression, Julian threw the cardigan in Ethan's face. She watched the whole thing. Her face turned pale. She finally understood. That day at the mall, Julian had provoked him. Julian had started the physical altercation. And what had she done? She had not only falsely accused Ethan, but slapped him. Vanessa felt like all her strength had been drained. She slumped over the steering wheel. Her chest felt blocked, like she had swallowed a loaf of dry bread. Breathing was difficult. She wanted to see him. She wanted to drag him out of her memories and apologize, to beg him for one last chance. It took a long time for her to recover from the wave of grief. She planned to go to the hospital to confront Julian. Just then, the private investigator called. "Miss Sterling, we found a lead on Mr. Cole. After arriving abroad in Gold Coast, Australia, I invested part of my money and found a laid-back job. I thought I would struggle to adapt without Vanessa. I was wrong. Before, I had to take care of her, leave work early to cook, clean the house, and constantly deal with the emotional toll of her running off to Julian. I was exhausted every day. But here, after work, I met friends for drinks. We had dinners, took walks. When the weather was nice, we went surfing in the ocean or sunbathed on the sand. Life was infinitely more comfortable than before. In less than half a year, my past troubles vanished like smoke. I even regretted not making the decision sooner. I shouldn't have waited that extra year. One day, I was lying on the beach wearing sunglasses, soaking up the sun. My friends were applying oil nearby, chatting idly. Somehow, the topic turned to first loves. They chattered away excitedly. Someone directed the question at me. "Liam, do you remember what it was like when you first met your first love?" I thought of Vanessa. After 6 months, I had almost forgotten her face. But our first meeting was still fresh in my memory. She was wearing a white shirt and a floral skirt, standing in the middle of a crowd, crying her eyes out. I couldn't stand watching it, so I handed her a pack of tissues. When I learned she had just gone through a breakup, I tried to comfort her. Before I could finish speaking, she looked at me and asked earnestly, "Can you be my boyfriend?" I was dumbfounded. Eventually, thinking I'd just comfort her until she got home, I agreed. Who knew she would actually treat me as her boyfriend, asking me out for dinner and movies repeatedly. Our status solidified and years passed, until Julian appeared. I finally understood that in Vanessa's heart, there was only Julian and then other men. My friends were waiting for an answer. Seeing my silence, one nudged me with his elbow. I snapped out of it and shook my head. I can't remember. I've forgotten what my ex looks like. My friends laughed and didn't pry further. The topic changed quickly, but not long after, one friend kept looking at his phone, then glancing up at me. Finally, he held the phone up to compare it with my profile. "What's wrong?" I asked, confused. "Is this you?" He shoved the phone into my hand. I took it. My smile faded as I looked at the image. It was an old photo of me. I didn't need to guess to know Vanessa had posted it. Unfortunately for her, shortly after arriving here, I had undergone minor cosmetic surgery. Julian had said my eyes and nose looked like his, so I specifically changed them. Therefore, the photo looked like me, but not the current me. It's a missing person notice from overseas. Rumor has it the reward is up to 300,000 now. Hearing this, the group gathered around. Seeing the photo, they all clamored about the resemblance. "Who did you offend? Is this a hit order?" they asked, horrified. I was about to speak when I noticed a figure approaching in my peripheral vision. I turned my head instinctively. Vanessa was standing not far away, backlit by the sun. She looked much thinner. Her eyes were red as she stared at me. "Ethan, I finally found you." My friends looked at me with curiosity. "Who is this?" someone whispered. "I'm Ethan's wife." Vanessa's voice choked with emotion. Before she could finish, I interrupted her coolly. "I'm sorry, you have the wrong person. My name is Liam. I don't know anyone named Ethan." My friends backed me up. "Yeah, miss, you must be mistaken. His name isn't Ethan." Vanessa stared at me in shock. Finally, she shook her head and grabbed my arm. "Impossible. Ethan, I know you. No matter what you change, no matter how much time passes, I know you. Stop playing around. Come home with me, okay? I know I was wrong. I know everything about what happened before. I've cut ties with Julian Hayes. I'll never see him again. Ethan, the person I love most is you. It has always been you." She rambled incoherently, telling me repeatedly that she loved me. Perhaps afraid I wouldn't believe her, she held out her right hand, revealing the scar on her wrist from the fire, the proof of saving my life. "Ethan, I know you hate me, but please, trust me one last time. Give me one last chance, okay?" I could see she was sincere this time, but it was too late. I looked at her indifferently and said softly, "You're mistaken. The prerequisite for hate is that there is still love, still hope. But from the day I left, I no longer held any hope for her." She pursed her lips, then pulled a diamond ring and a marriage certificate from her bag. Her eyes were red. "Look, I bought the ring back for you." I hadn't expected her to buy it back. I could see she had put in the effort. "And this is the surprise I told you about. I loved you. That's why I got this marriage certificate." "Is that so?" I interrupted her with a cold sneer. "Wasn't the purpose of that certificate to control me? To ensure I couldn't escape the palm of your hand? But unfortunately, just as the man named Ethan Cole no longer exists, that certificate is invalid." Vanessa bit her lip, unable to speak. I didn't waste any more time. I turned to my friends. "The sun is perfect right now. Let's go surfing." My friends sensed the heavy atmosphere between Vanessa and me, but hearing my suggestion, they didn't ask questions and cheered as we headed for the water. However, after surfing for a short while, I saw Vanessa shakily standing on a surfboard not far away. She looked up at me with a panicked smile. Vanessa was terrified of water. I had asked her many times to go swimming with me in the past, and she had always refused. I knew she was doing this to show me she could break her own rules for me. "Don't waste your energy. Go back and live your life," I advised calmly. Vanessa wanted to give up, but she shook her head. She pressed her lips together. "Not unless you agree to come back with me." I ignored her. I had lost the mood to surf, so I returned to the shore. Vanessa fell off the board several times. The worst time, she swallowed water and choked. It was the first time I had ever seen her look so pathetic. I didn't stop her, but I didn't watch either. I turned and invited my friends to go for drinks. On the way, they asked about Vanessa. I picked a few incidents to explain briefly. Before I could finish, my friends were filled with righteous indignation, urging me not to waver. One asked suspiciously, "Is she only back because that Julian guy is dying?" Others agreed. I laughed. Speaking of the devil, when the drinking session ended, I found Julian waiting at the entrance of my rental house. Vanessa had said he had only 6 months to live. By my calculation, that time was up. Yet, his complexion was rosy. He didn't look critically ill at all. Seeing me, Julian walked over quickly, his tone oozing concern. Ethan, it's so good that you're okay. I was worried something happened to you. I didn't expect you to come abroad without telling anyone. You have no idea how worried Vanessa has been. Saying this, he stepped forward to shake my hand. I dodged him, seeing his hypocritical act. I guess Vanessa was hiding nearby, watching. I gave a cold laugh. You're not dead yet. Julian seemed to have anticipated the question. It was a misdiagnosis. I'm perfectly healthy. I am sorry. Because of that misdiagnosis, I caused a misunderstanding between you and Vanessa. I admit I still love Vanessa, but a gentleman helps others achieve their happiness. Once I knew Vanessa loved you, I stopped having any designs on her. I only see Vanessa as a sister now. Ethan, please trust us this one time. Forgive Vanessa. I remained silent. Julian continued. Vanessa has been searching for you everywhere. She flies to different cities every day, sometimes sleeping only 5 hours a week. She really loves you. Don't let her down. Go home and live a good life with her, okay? I laughed. Save it. You're making me nauseous. Julian, aren't you just putting on this show because Vanessa is nearby? Didn't you claim you would definitely win her back? What happened? Still haven't succeeded? Looking at it this way, you're pretty useless. Begging me just so Vanessa will give you a chance. Over the years, Julian had sent me plenty of videos and photos, provoking and mocking me both openly and subtly. I would sooner believe the sun rises in the west than believe he genuinely wanted Vanessa and me to be together. Sure enough, poked in his sore spot, Julian's expression changed. The veins on his forehead bulged. You. He gritted his teeth and grabbed my collar. He looked ready to hit me. I didn't move. I sneered, not calling me brother anymore. You want to hit me? You aren't afraid Vanessa will see you this time? Just as the words left my mouth, Vanessa hurried out from a nearby alley. Julian, what are you doing? Julian clenched his jaw tight, temples throbbing. Beep! A car honked nearby. Julian seemed to think of something. He lowered his voice and whispered coldly to me. Don't you want to know if Vanessa loves you or me? Let's test it. With that, he suddenly shoved me into the middle of the road and grappled with me. I saw a private car approaching fast. Realizing his intent, I broke out in a cold sweat. I looked at his bloodshot eyes and cursed him silently. A lunatic. I used all my strength to shove him away and break free. At the same time, Vanessa's eyes went wide as she sprinted over. I thought she would help Julian. Unexpectedly, she ran toward me. Julian watched, stunned. In that split second of distraction, he was struck by the car and sent flying with a scream. Vanessa saw Julian's gruesome state, but she only spared him a glance. Leaving him to the driver, she frantically checked me over, her voice trembling. Are you okay? Are you hurt anywhere? I'll take you to the hospital. She grabbed my hand to lead me away. I shook her off without hesitation. She looked at me in shock. After a long silence, she whispered, Ethan, I saved you just now. Doesn't that prove anything? Prove what? That you love me. I couldn't help but laugh. Love is complex. Years ago, you risked your life to pull me out of fire. But you also pushed me out of our own wedding for Julian. Now, you can abandon Julian to save me. Tomorrow, you could abandon me for something else. I never denied that you love me. It's just that your love is too volatile. I don't want it anymore. Vanessa's eyes reddened. She crouched on the ground in agony. But I can change. These past 6 months have made me see myself clearly. I swear I won't do anything to hurt you again. What about Julian? He came here today to beg on your behalf. Can you just ignore him from now on? I spoke coldly. Looking at him right now, can you guarantee you'll never see him again? Vanessa turned her head. In the middle of the road, Julian lay in a pool of blood. Because he didn't dare move him, the driver had only called an ambulance. Julian was curled up, looking painfully toward Vanessa. Their eyes met, and Vanessa hesitated. I had guessed the answer. I said calmly, go help him. Live a good life. Don't look for me again. No, Ethan. She panicked, trying to explain, but no amount of reasoning held any power. The ambulance arrived. I ignored them and walked straight back to my house. Vanessa collapsed on the spot, sobbing uncontrollably. Julian's leg was crushed. To save his life, they had to amputate. I heard that when he woke up and realized his leg was gone, he smashed everything in the hospital room. But no matter how much he smashed, the leg wasn't coming back. The police checked the dashcam footage. They found that Julian actually had a chance to dodge, but for some reason, he hadn't reacted in time. The conclusion was that he had frozen in fear. The driver's insurance paid out a large settlement, and the matter was closed. Vanessa took Julian back to the States. Not long after, they quietly got married. However, rumors of discord soon followed, and shortly after that, news of their separation. On the day of the divorce, Julian jumped from the 19th floor. Vanessa swallowed a bottle of sleeping pills. Although she was saved after having her stomach pumped, she suffered a mental breakdown and was admitted to a psychiatric facility. I didn't pay any further attention. After all, my stock investments just surged. A new life is waving at me from not far away, smiling. Story complete, story complete.